Remember a couple weeks ago when the playoff rankings came out and everyone was saying Alabama was deserving of being one of the 12 teams and they got absolutely screwed by being left out? Then we saw all the playoff games that were pretty much blowouts, and pretty much every game, all the commentators and everyone else was saying this is a reason why Alabama was deserving and they should have gotten in over some of these teams. Well, they had a chance to prove today why they were deserving of making the college football playoff. They were playing a terrible Michigan team who was 7-5, so Alabama, as a 17-point favorite, they had a prime opportunity to make a real statement and show everyone that they were wrong. Well, it turns out everyone was completely right, and Alabama wasn't even close to deserving of playing in the 12-team college football playoff. Before we get to today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are you love college football, and odds are you aren't subscribed to my channel. So make sure to subscribe to one of the best college football communities here on YouTube. Yeah, so we just had one of the biggest upsets, and probably the biggest upset of recent bowl memory. Alabama was a 17-point favorite over Michigan, and they just got absolutely embarrassed and lost 19-13. Now, there was a good reason why Alabama was such a heavy favorite in this game. One, they were a much better team than Michigan. Well, at least that's what we all thought. This was an Alabama team that entered the game ranked number 11 in the country, and they were 9-3. You had Michigan, who was 7-5. They were coming off a really impressive victory against Ohio State, but this was a really crappy Michigan team all season long, and I don't think anybody expected them to put up a fight. Not to mention, for Alabama, they were playing all of their stars. Jalen Milroe, he played. Brian Williams, he played. The Tide had all of their studs. They weren't really resting anybody. And yet, despite that, Alabama lost as a 17-point favorite, and they never really had a chance in this game at all. They were losing 16-0 at the end of the first quarter. Now, they did score 10 points in the second quarter. They did make it a one-score game at the half, but the offense did absolutely nothing in the second half, with the exception of a field goal. Now, the thing that makes this even worse for Alabama and even more embarrassing is the fact that Michigan's offense was disgusting in this game. I mean, I don't ever remember a game in which an offense was this bad, looked this terrible, and essentially kind of dominated from start to finish. As a team, Michigan only threw for 75 yards. Once Davis Warren was injured, Alex Orji came into the game to replace him, and he only threw for 2 yards. Michigan was only running the ball, and they weren't even successful at it. They ran the ball 51 times for 115 yards. I mean, think about that for a second. Michigan ran the ball 51 times, and they only averaged 2.3 yards per attempt. Now, what's even more tragic is the fact that Michigan actually had a 24-yard run in this game. If you were to take that out, they averaged only 1.8 yards per attempt on 50 carries. I mean, seriously, Alabama, Michigan's offense couldn't do anything all game, and you couldn't do anything on offense to take them down. I mean, in most cases, holding an opponent to 19 points, I think you're probably going to win that game. I would expect a top 25 team to score 20 points and win, but for Alabama, they scored only 13 points in this one. I mean, look at what Alabama did on offense. Jalen Milroe, well, he was horrible. He completed only 50% of his passes and threw for 190 yards with an interception. Then on the ground as a team, Alabama ran for only 68 yards on 29 attempts. They averaged the same amount per rush as Michigan at 2.3 yards. And to make things worse, Alabama actually had a 41-yard rush. So if you take out that 41-yard rush, Alabama had 27 rushing yards on 28 attempts. Think about that. They averaged less than 1 yard per rushing attempt if you take out that 40-yard run. I mean, if you bet on the under in this game, you were probably enjoying this because, my God, both these offenses were terrible, but Alabama, I mean, this has to be up there in recent memory of most embarrassing bowl performances I can remember. I mean, come on, everyone was complaining about how you got left out of the college football playoff. You have a prime opportunity, win by 30 points, make a statement, then you can do all the crying and saying, see, we should have made the college football playoff. But how do you come out as a 17-point favorite and you just get embarrassed like this? I mean, I'm at a loss for words. I'm not even an Alabama fan. I'm not an SEC fan. I'm an Arizona State fan. I'll be proudly watching my team in the college football playoff tomorrow. But I just don't understand how you can have a performance like this given everything that was said the last couple of weeks. And it wasn't just from fans, it was from people high up in college football. It was from some pretty big college football media personalities like Kirk Herbstreit, Sean McDonough. They had a lot to say, and boy, does this just make their takes look even worse. Now, I haven't posted a video in a couple weeks. I've been really busy. There's been a lot going on, so I didn't get to post a video talking about the first round of the playoff games and how lopsided they were. Now, when those games were happening, everyone was saying this is a prime example of why Alabama deserves to be in over SMU, Indiana, teams like that. Now, I didn't do a video because, like I said, I was busy, but had I posted a video then, this is what I would have said. It doesn't bother me that those games were blowouts. Now, do I wish they would have been close games and they could have been a lot better? Sure. But we've seen this in college football in years past. We've seen it in the biggest bowl games. We've seen it in national championship games. There are blowouts. There are teams that are simply a whole lot better than the other team. We've seen it in the NFL in the playoffs. We've seen it in the Super Bowl. There are blowouts no matter what the case is. That's just going to happen. Now, it doesn't help that essentially all 4 games were blowouts. I guess Clemson, Texas was at least a little bit close. It wasn't necessarily a blowout, but yeah, having all those games be kind of lopsided, it didn't look good for the college football playoff rankings at all. But if you would have put Alabama in over Indiana, who's to say that Alabama wouldn't have lost by even more? Or what about a team like Miami or Ole Miss? They could have easily lost by 20 or 30 points. At the end of the day, we just don't know. I have no problem with the 12 teams that made the college football playoff. Obviously, the playoff committee got it right by keeping Alabama out. I think they got it right by keeping Miami out because they really struggled against Iowa State. They probably got it right by keeping Ole Miss out, but again, there's just nothing we can do at this point. But I just had to get a video out because, my God, like I said, Alabama losing the way they did to Michigan, absolutely embarrassing. How do you let that happen? Because this is a Michigan team. My God, are they bad. Defensively, they're pretty solid, I'll say. But this is a Michigan team that has absolutely no offense, and Alabama couldn't stop them at all. So, embarrassing effort by Alabama, but I'm looking forward to another playoff game tonight. Boise State, Penn State, that should be a lot of fun. I think Penn State gets it done, but it's going to be very interesting to see how Boise State is able to hang with the big dogs. It's also going to be fun to see if Ashton Jeanty is able to set the FBS single-season rushing record. Then you look forward to tomorrow, a lot of great games. My Arizona State Sun Devils, they're kicking things off at 10 a.m. Hopefully they're able to put up a fight against Texas. I think they will. I think the 14-point spread is an absolute disgrace. I think the Sun Devils are going to make this interesting, and I think they're going to pull off the upset. Cam Scatterbo, he's going to have a massive game, and Sam Leavitt, he's a quarterback a lot of people need to pay more attention to. I think he's going to have a big game as well. Oregon, Ohio State, that's going to be a fun matchup. I'm going to go with the Ducks in that one. Then you have Georgia and Notre Dame to close things out. I know a lot of people are taking Notre Dame because Georgia's without Carson Beck, but I'm going to take the Bulldogs in the upset in that game. So, what are your thoughts on Alabama getting absolutely embarrassed today by Michigan? Also, what are your predictions for the playoff games that we have today and for tomorrow? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comment section down below. Before you leave, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. I'm posting college football videos all off season long, so if you're a college football fan, this is definitely the place for you. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm, and it helps share this video and my channel with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you all in my next video.